Hello, 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 hello. Cool. Alright, hello and welcome. If you are on the stream live, no, you're not. Nobody is live. I have no concurrent viewers right now. But if you're watching the VOD, hello. This is the video where we will discuss. Hold on. Wilford, Mother-Loving Warfstache, and Damien. Before we get to that, though, I just want to say that In Space with Markiplier, Part 2 comes out tomorrow. And if you have not seen Part 1, you should watch Part 1. And then tomorrow, when In Space Part 2 comes out, you should watch that. And if you've already watched either or of them in the future, why not watch them again? You've probably missed some stuff. You probably have not found all of the routes. Did you know that there are 55 videos in Part 1 alone? And majority of people actually go and watch the most absurd, nonsensical route. So you should definitely go check those out. Not to mention, they're just a lot of fun. So if you've seen it before, go back. And if you've never seen it, go watch it. Anyways, today we're going to do Warfstache and Damien. Unfortunately, as I learned yesterday, you can't really watch any Markiplier stuff without getting copyrighted. I don't know what the reason for that is. Obviously, I was a little annoyed yesterday when I was streaming. I'm doing these streams just as like a build-up to my reaction live stream of Part 2. Same way I did with Part 1. Just doing like a couple of streams to build up to that. And now there's a vacuum. Lovely. Try to ignore that. If you can hear it, try to ignore it. But like last time I did, I did these build-ups. I was obviously a little bit annoyed when I started getting copyrighted left and right for reacting to Who Killed Markiplier on yesterday's live stream. But in hindsight, obviously, like, I'm fine with it. It's not my content, so it's like, if I have issues with it, that's because I didn't make it. Like, if I was watching my own videos and I got a copyright strike, I'd be like, that is the most annoying bullshit. But since it's Markiplier stuff, obviously, you should go watch his stuff. I put the links in the videos, so, if you want to watch anything that I watch, that Markiplier's done, it's over there. It's in the link, it's on his channel, etc., etc. But, yeah, I'm annoyed, but it's fine. So for today, we're just gonna we're not gonna watch the videos, we're gonna go through them a little bit, stop, not stop, but we'll go forward a couple minutes, talk about stuff. Mostly what my plan is for today is to kind of predict for tomorrow, do a little bit of theory crafting, do a little bit of analysis, try to figure out what we can kind of expect for tomorrow. Because I think that will be cool. I think that will be a cool thing to do, is just kind of talk about what my ideas about all of it are, the story, the lore, everything, how it all fits together. And I think it'll be cool. I've been doing some research and just watching back through all these. I also went back and watched everything for Who Killed Markiplier to refresh myself, as well as the explained live streams, the live streams where he watches through and talks about it. Some interesting stuff there, actually. I understand the lore of Who Killed Markiplier a lot more now, and I'm again, Markiplier himself has said this. It's the most confusing in the series, but at the same time, it is a what am I trying to get at here? It is it's still important to the overall story, and it does make sense when you look back at it. Like, it's a mystery, so it all, you can almost like get away with it being confusing. But it makes more sense when you think of certain ideas, like the house being alive or the house being responsible for everything that happened to some degree. I might talk about that a little bit at the end if I feel like I have time for it. But for now, we're gonna get into watching the live stream. So, or not the live stream, the show. Get into watching Wilford, Mother-Loving Warfstache, and Damien. And the vacuum is still going, so you love to see it. So, yeah, so we'll watch this, we'll watch Damien. We will probably look at some screenshots I have of like some secret stuff that should be in Space Part 2 and kind of theorize on that. And just have a good time, just like getting hyped for Part 2, because that's going to be a ride. No matter what you thought of Part 1, Part 2, I have a good feeling it's going to be a lot more like Heist, where it's just nutty, it's just madness, and you actually have like your choices actually lead to a lot more. My hair has been ridiculous. Anyways, so first shot of this whole sequence is of Abe the detective going through his monologue. A lot of just really good shots here. Mostly what this scene is, and Markiplier has talked about this as well, is like, you know, if you haven't seen Who Killed Markiplier, it explains everything. Like, I was hired by someone to do some detective work, and then I met Warfstache, aka the Colonel, and then he killed me, so now I'm a detective and I'm hunting him down. Kinda simple, generic stuff there. My voice is not entirely ready. My voice is not entirely up to par. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better by tomorrow or by the end of the stream. But it's, you know, the detective going through his whole like internal monologue, talking about how he wants to kill the detective, how he a lot of details that come into play later, where he's talking about like, I couldn't tell you how many times I've cornered him, how many times I've almost gotten him, because he doesn't. A very important idea that like Mark got to with this series was the idea that that Abe doesn't know anything. Like, he doesn't know any specifics, but he knows like the general idea of what he's doing and where he is. He knows the general idea that he is in a role that he is playing, and that he is to, you know, his job is to chase down the Colonel, Warfstache, whatever. And so you've got all this like noir scenes of him like, I got it. No, please, reconnection. Okay, we good? Goddamn vacuum. I don't know if it is. I need to look into this at some point. I'm pretty sure vacuums are capable of distorting internet, because anytime the vacuum is run, my internet goes kapooey. And it is so annoying. It is ridiculous. We good? Is everything okay? She stopped for like 5 minutes. She's gonna run it again. Where was I? Oh yeah. Running it again, we might lose connection again. Lovely. I love this so much. This is my favorite. Well, we're gonna act as if this is not an issue. So we have this whole noir scene, and then we get into this like jazzy scene where it's just a big ol' a big old dance party, which is very fun. Actually, right here is one of the more interesting shots. I have a comment here. While I'm in a few months, looks at the camera. Does anyone see a split second of surprise? Maybe I'm imagining it, but it feels like him being like, "You look familiar." Ah, whatever. Enjoy your time. 3:43. This has always been a very interesting sequence. We'll see if we can like frame by frame it, because I am unable to actually watch it. Yeah, so here, like this shot specifically, like you start to pan in, he looks down at you. He looks down. He's got this little face of like, who's that? Ooh. Do I recognize you? You seem familiar. It could just be kind of like a dancey, like, aha, how you enjoying the party. More specifically, he is very much just looking at you. Oh god, no data. What does this mean? Excellent connection. Boy, I love this stream. YouTube is not currently receiving data for this stream. I love vacuums. Vacuums are my favorite. Please tell me this isn't just being like split into multiple videos. That'd be the worst outcome. We good? Not for long. Do I want to go back and like explain that again? But it's just like this moment of him, you like zoom in. Oh yeah, here, just like he locks eyes with you. Like here he turns. Are we losing? We're losing internet. Alright, cool. Why'd she have to wake up right now? Why'd you have to wake up right now and be like, vacuum? So annoying. It's not even the sound. I don't even think the sound is a big issue. It's the fact that it is taking down my internet while I am live streaming. I try to only live stream at like 5 because it's a consistent time where I'm never doing anything. Anywho, we'll try to get through this. Hopefully it doesn't go down. He sees you, he looks at you, he's like, aw. And then this like, oh, it's you. Maybe he even recognizes you, like, oh, it's you, good lad. I recognize you. What are you doing here? Ah, whatever. It's a very slim moment of like, whatever. Cowabunga. Hope you're enjoying the party. Like, I'm definitely over reading into this way too much. But it's just a small like funny thing that I like, where like he's very intentionally looking at you. He's looking at the camera. So he's like, "Ah, I see you there. I see you there, you scamp. Enjoy the party," whatever. I think he does it again at some point. It's like another shot where he looks at the camera. It seems like it's more associated with Abe, you know? Over here is like a shot of him looking at Abe, and it seems more associated with, you know, he's not looking at you, even though it's pretty close, but he's more looking at Abe, right? He's looking at the detective. Where did the name Abe come from? I think it's right here, if I'm not mistaken. Also, yeah, there it is. I found it. Yeah, I think this is, it kind of looks like he's looking at you, but he's more, it seems almost more like he's looking at Abe, right? Stream health is still doing okay, I guess. Yeah, okay. She's still vacuuming, but internet has not gone down yet. I'm not making this up, and apparently I have a stream health check to confirm my suspicions. Or yeah, whatever. But yeah, and then I think he could be looking at you again, which further, I don't know. I think this may more be a like detective point of view, you know? Like before, I don't even think that's possible because the detective is still like walking into the room, and in the other shot, like he is looking dead at you, right? This seems more like a detective POV to me. I don't know. It's me to This is me getting a little bit too into the nitty gritty, the minutia, the details, the who killed who, the who slept with who, that kind of stuff. I just think it's a really funny little thing to talk about. And then they have this little confrontation where Abe is shooting him. You got this little shot where this where? No, it's like here more, right? Or around here. There he is. Where Warfstache like pops in behind him and is like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be here. Whoops." Kind of walks back. As a like film student, uh, taking classes for like cinematography and whatever, I very much enjoy this. Like, looking at these is so much fun. More fun than like like Who Killed Markiplier, because that was, let's be frank, a little bit cheap. That one, Who Killed Markiplier and Date, very cheap. They did not have Dan, the director of cinematography or whatever. This is just really fun because everything looks so good. Part of that is the color correction as well, and like just how it flows, which is mostly Markiplier. Which is mostly just Mark like editing and whatever. I'm trying to find the shot of. Thankfully, this seems to work. Me just kind of going frame by frame seems to work. There he is. There's Warfstache just in the background, like, huh? Am I supposed to be here? Which is very funny. What was I saying? Oh yeah, all the like actual putting the video together to make a story is Markiplier, but the cinematographer, who I think has been working with Mark since this point, makes everything look beautiful. Just beautiful. Fucking just Warfstache there in the background. It's so funny. Dave. But then he shocks him. See, this is almost more fun, for me than, this is more fun than yesterday. Especially since I watched it all beforehand, so I have like more insight on everything. I watched that at double speed, so I would have time, but it's still really fun. But yeah. He tases him, knocks him out. Warfstache is in the background with his martini. He just starts trying to drink from it, I think. Yeah, there he is. Then you have this like semi-Warfstache-y, semi-neo-noir detective scene. I really did not like yesterday's stream because I was just caught off guard by everything. Like, MCC happened yesterday, Markiplier was streaming, MatPat put out a video about In Space. Like, so much just go wrong. I had friends, like, the vacuum's fucking awful. I hate it. I hate it so goddamn much. I fucking hate the vacuum. Especially if it's knocking out my power. But this is still manageable because, like, at least I know what I'm talking about, right? I went into yesterday thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make myself a Markiplier expert. I don't know. Couldn't do that when I couldn't like actually watch the stuff because I kept getting copyrighted. But whatever. Anyways, this whole sequence is very fun. There's like 4 sequences in this show, plus the like dance sequence at the end. This is like sequence 3 in the car, where it's like it's just more of the I don't know if you would call it the Warfstache nuttiness. Most people would probably call it the Warfstache weirdness happening. Um, but it could be more just attributed to the world, or in some ways the house being weird. You know, the house, the manor, just being weird. Because it can be said that like everyone is still trapped in the house, supposedly. Like the house is just this place where all of the stuff happens, all the stories take place. The vacuum is getting closer. I hate. Anyways, more Warfstache weirdness in the car. It's just a fun little scene with the like the neo noir narration is being played with because Warfstache is in the room or in the car. He tases him again, and then suddenly they're back in the detective's little place here. Lovely place you've got here. Yes. Words can hurt, you know. You should be kind and courteous. I'm sorry. Warfstache is just a fun character to like imitate. This stream is not doing well. That's fine. I am not getting much attention for this one. Weird. Usually someone like pops in, right? Like usually someone's popped in at this point. Am I even live? I should watch it on my phone again, just in case someone does pop in. One moment, but yeah, there's this little moment where like Abe's like, "Aha, I got you, you bitch, I got you. You're mine. I'm gonna question you. I'm gonna interrogate you. This is the fun part, where I finally, I keep my promise from Who Killed Markiplier, and I get to finger you as the murderer." Whatever. Okay. Cool. Now I don't have to look at whatever this as she is. I just look at that, keep an eye on that. Alright, cool. So yeah, this is just like, you know, the detective kind of going through his own role, going through all the motions of his thing. You get these little hints of like Wingleheimer, and he's like caught off by that because again he doesn't know specifics, but he knows that he is a detective who has been chasing Warfstache for a while. Well, I married into that name. That's a funny story to that name. And Warfstache is kind of going with it, although he's also it's interesting, right? Because like the detective is playing the role like any other character in the series, like the warden in Heist or Gunther in Space. He is just playing the role that he is put in, right? And then having Warfstache in here, like this could have gone normally. Like this could have been just, you know, I'm the detective. I'm gonna bring you in. Ah, you'll never take me alive, detective. But because it's Warfstache, it gets a little wonky, you know? Because it's Warfstache, it's a little weird because Warfstache has some understanding of what it is. I hate the vacuum. I can just hear it's just louder. But he has some inkling, some understanding of what's happening. Or maybe he doesn't. Or he at least understands that something is happening, right? He knows that a story is being told. He knows about all the behind the scenes and whatever. It reminds me of like Professor Paradox from Ben 10. If you've ever seen Ben 10, Alien Force Forward, you know who Professor Paradox is possibly. And he's just this character who like got trapped in time and just like explored the nuances of the universe. and he just kind of understands like, oh, uh, he's like, oh, this is, I understand everything. I've literally lived for eons, and because I've lived for eons, I've gotten to experience just everything, right? I've gotten to explore the cosmos. I've gotten to explore the very fabric of reality. That's how I see Warfstache. He just like he gets it. He's been around long enough to know like, oh, things are weird around here, you know? And so it's just weird. It's funny to put him in this situation. This could have been again a normal like neo-noir crime detective show or video, but because Warfstache is in here, he throws it all into he throws everything out of whack, right? And not to mention he has personal relationships to the detective, to Abe. He's like, "Oh, was I was kind of a dick to you before, you know. I was really really mean." And so this is kind of him saying, "I'm sorry," saying like, "I apologize for all that." And then the weirdness comes in where like Abe's looking at him and then suddenly he's behind him. He's like, then it's just Warfstache kind of doing the weird stuff. When I was watching like the explained video for Heist or for Who Killed Markiplier, they were talking about the one scene in like the final chapter where everything kind of freezes, everything goes a little bit dark or greenish, or like there's like little specks of particles floating around in the air, and everything freezes. Like he almost said it in a way where it's like, is that the explanation for how Warfstache does stuff? You know, stuff just freezes and like time passes for Warfstache, and then suddenly he's on the other side of the room. You know, like it's just interesting. And it's possible Warfstache doesn't even know that it's happening, much like the viewer in Who Killed Markiplier. Just kind of goes along with it, doesn't know what's happening, and just like walks until he gets to the study, which is just weird. It's all very strange, but it kind of contextualizes a lot of the series and saying that like even like weird transitions and stuff make sense because of that kind of continuity of that weirdness. Like honestly, that scene where everything's dark and the particles are floating around in Who Killed Markiplier could explain half of the weirdness that is in the show. It's just like you walk through kind of a tunnel to the next scene, which is just, I don't know, interesting. I'm terribly sorry that I don't remember you. The names. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't remember you. I forgot. I was rewatching this and I forgot that he at this point remembered Abe. But at this point, he's just kind of like trying to apologize. He's exploring. He's being like, huh, interesting little place you got here. Look, everything's really, huh. Looking at what you've done, looking at what we've done, stuff that we don't even remember. The reference to the Orient Express. Where does he say? I remember the train. How long were we stuck in the snow for? And then I'm trying to find the clip where he says, "Oh, you don't." Oh no, it was like right after this, wasn't it? Oh, but for some of no, it's right before this, isn't it? Ah, it's okay. Probably hasn't happened yet. Spoiler for later. We all did it. Hello, spoiler alert for later to make it easier on you. We all did it, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. Back then, we all did it, which is interesting in comparison to like Who Killed Markiplier, where it's you don't really know who did it. More than likely, like it was definitely Warfstache who shot, like the people who died, Warfstache shot. But then at the same time, like everyone kind of lives. No one really dies, and everything is just kind of like continuing after that. Like Warfstache shoots Markiplier, he shoots the detective, and he shoots the person. And then obviously, the three other characters, the groundskeeper, the butler, and the chef, kind of leave. But even then, they're still part of this whole trap. They're still kind of trapped in the mansion because they're still in other stuff that happens. They're still part of stories. And then Damien and Celine get trapped in kind of the underworld for a bit. But by the end of it, Damien and Celine are Darkiplier. Warfstache has gone absolutely mad after shooting people and then seeing them come back to life. And he's like, he becomes Warfstache. He goes from Colonel to the Warfstache. And then, yeah, the detective comes back here, and you are kind of like stuck behind the glass, you know? Like, after that, you are trapped behind the glass, where it's like specifically that mirror. I think it's more of a representation of being trapped behind like the screen, you know? Like, here's everything that's happening, here's the story, and then in there, behind the glass, you are just watching it all happen, right? You're a character in all this. But you have very little input unless you are explicitly given input by either Markiplier or Darkiplier or whoever has control, you know? Which is just very interesting. And then he gives him a hug and says, "I'm sorry." And then he ends up in the chair. And at this point, Abe is kind of losing it, so Warfstache starts to take things seriously. He starts to try and understand everything. He's like, "Alright, so what's exactly happening?" And then Abe's like, "I've been hunting you. I've been hunting you down." And Abe's like, "Where have you been hunting me?" And then Abe can't give specifics. The best thing that Mark did during like his live stream of this was explain it, kind of compare it to Soma, where the entire point is what is truth, what is real, what is reality in this kind of world, you know? Because things are not as they seem. Because Abe is playing the role of the detective, he gets kind of lost in that. He gets lost and like doesn't really remember who he is. And Warfstache is here to kind of tell him like that's okay. Life needs a little bit of madness. You can just accept this, you know? And so by the end of this, like Abe rediscovers like, "Oh yeah, I was shot and somehow I'm not dead." Like they are kind of the viewer after the viewer comes back to life in Who Killed Markiplier. They're like, "What's happening? I don't know what's happening." And then the end happens. They're in kind of a similar boat where they're just kind of figuring out, "Oh, stuff is still going on. I'm still alive. I don't know how, but now I'm just playing a new role. I am now, just watching the detective, or I am just now trapped behind the glass or whatever." Things just continue on. It just depends on what story is being told, which is just really cool. And then you've got this sequence with the dance scene. Alright, there we go. At least it wasn't a copyright strike. Okay, we good? Yes. Alright, cool. God. Alright, we're back. Cool. That is so annoying. It sounds like it stopped for good. Hopefully. Hopefully. Hopefully it stopped for good. And then there's this dance sequence. I'm just gonna keep rolling along with it. Where, you know. She's still vacuuming. Well, anyways, God, can I not just fucking stream without shit going wrong? If tomorrow, I think tomorrow will go well. Hopefully, um, hopefully tomorrow goes well. If I have issues tomorrow, I'm not gonna be happy. I might delay the live stream. Like if stuff is not going well tomorrow with the live stream, I might delay it. But we'll hold off on that. Drives me fucking crazy. Anyways, are we even still live? I don't even know. God. So annoyed. Do you still hear it? You can probably still hear it. We are somehow. I don't know what to do. Like genuinely, like this is so distracting. It can't. She wakes up. Whatever. I guess I'll start trying to talk about Damien. So Damien is the second one that came after Warfstache. I have always liked Warfstache. Oh, hold on. I've always liked Warfstache a lot more. I've always liked just the style of it and just how it's a weird short film, you know? Like, it's just very strange. But then you have Damien. I've never really liked... I've liked Damien, but I haven't, like, loved Damien. I've always been like, it's pretty good. I've always thought, man, Damien is pretty good. But rewatching it, I really enjoy it a lot more now than I did before. Is she vacuuming in the hallway? Like, there's a carpet there. There's nothing to vacuum. It's like a mop vacuum. It shoots water to clean the floors better. I don't know. But like, why would she be doing it down this hallway? Because there's a big carpet there. How's chat doing? I keep seeing like 1-2 people popping in and out. How you doing? You having fun? Have you seen In Space with Markiplier? Comes out. Part 1 is out and available for free. Part 2 comes out tomorrow. Have you seen it? Have you enjoyed it? Do you understand it? You might, if you don't understand it, I'd recommend going back and watching some of the other routes. Because that could be the reason that you did not understand it, is because you got the most confusing route. Most people get the most confusing route. If you want to see Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache or Damien on your own, links to both of those and In Space Part 1 and 2 are in the description. Is that the actual vacuum? I can't even tell anymore. I can't even tell anymore. I wouldn't think it's... That's definitely Mom. Oh, it's Jimmy. Okay. It's still annoying. They're gonna come back. Does this help? I'm trying to like position the microphone so it's not facing that direction. So hopefully the sound will be a bit better. Maybe. Alright, it's sounding okay. You can obviously still hear it when I like talk, which is not great. But I don't think it ruins the experience entirely. It's just a lot of background noise, which is unfortunate, but I can't really help that. So I'm just listening to it. I don't like it, but we're gonna go with it because this is just unfortunate. Alright, so Damien. Really cool one as well. I used to not like this one as much, but like rewatching it, I'm like, oh, I really like it. I think it's really good. It is a bit slow. Maybe it was because I watched it at double speed. Again, to like just make sure I knew everything about what I was talking about before I went and did this. But it's very cool. It has this like slow opening where the trees are being cut down by Damien, and he's just like collecting wood like he does all the time. I when I was making the thumbnail for this stream, I was like, I'm gonna be reacting to Wilford, Warfstache, and Damien, so you know I got to do the like Warfstache and Darkiplier with Jason Friend. And the thumbnail is just gold. It's just absolutely beautiful. Where it's just like my face on the left, it's Warfstache in the middle, and then Damien's face that on the right, and it looks the exact same as my face with like framing and whatnot. It's just so funny. Look, I'm doing the best I can for these. I thought I don't know, they're not great. I definitely like the with Markiplier live stream thumbnails a little bit more. They're all bad. They're all bad quality, but whatever. Um, I just did what I could. I at least think the part 2 for In Space with Markiplier comes out tomorrow. Looks decent and will probably do well as a thumbnail. I don't know. It looks good. It's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yeah, Damien is in this like loop. He keeps cutting down these trees. You've got Damien, you've got Celine. And when I was watching the like explained video for this, he explained it in a way where like the same way that the detective didn't know what was happening and was just kind of playing a role in Wilford Motherloving Warfstache. Damien is playing the role and doesn't know what's happening because Celine is actually in control. Like unlike Wilford, who was just along for the ride, but he knew what was happening kind of, or he knew stuff was happening. Celine, I think, definitely like knows a lot more about like the function of this world and like why it's happening and what it's for. It's just the kind of way for her to hunt down actor Mark while keeping Damien safe because they're both like trapped in the same body. And she's just trying to keep him safe, you know, because she sees herself as like his big sister, you know. And so, you know, she's got this story that loops of Damien going out and looking for firewood, and then she goes out and hunts down Markiplier, because I guess, you know, he was the one that kind of put them in this situation, and so they both are kind of angry at him. But again, Damien is kind of playing this role, so he doesn't know about what happened and who killed Markiplier really, because he's just playing the role of Damien, going out catching fire, keeping them warm during the winter. You know, like that's just his role here. And then like this whole thing is happening because like Markiplier is getting closer to Damien, and like some of the background is getting a little blurred on where it starts and where it stops. And then he finds the flower. Well, he says he saw the flower the first time. He was like, I saw a flower. And then this is the second time where we're seeing it, and it's pink because it's like it's Warfstache probably. I think that's the explanation, because you hear Warfstache's like a voice. Yeah. You killed people. That's the detective and Mark and Warfstache arguing. And it's just interesting because this is the point where like the background and the foreground of the story are kind of melding. Like most of the story in Wilford Warfstache was being told in the story, and there was not much actual background. They talked about the background a little bit, kinda. They implied it, but in this one you actually see the background of the story happening, you know? And it's starting to kind of seep into this world, this like story that Selena has kind of built to keep Damien safe. While she goes out and hunts Markiplier. And then Mark made this a little scary because Mark do like a little bit scary. He does he's kind of known for scary stuff. He's known for this one like real small game, Five Nights at Freddy's. Probably never heard of it. Yeah. But then this is kind of him still playing the role, but it's interesting because like the script is kind of being tinkered with by like Warfstache or not Warfstache. Markiplier, like Celine's role as being Celine's story is being manipulated by Markiplier so that Mark and Damien can meet again, you know? Which is interesting. There's that beautiful face. This, which is very lore intended. There's so much lore here. This is just oozing with lore. But then Damien and Mark meet up. And the vacuum's still going if you were unaware. Just a little reminder, the vacuum is still going. Yeah, but this is where Damien and Mark meet. It's so good. Go watch this if you have not seen this. It's so good. I wish we could be reacting to it, but copyright and whatnot. Anyways, this part here is kind of them just explaining what happened in Who Killed Markiplier, but it also gives a lot more background because it's from Markiplier's perspective, right? Because he's like, a good night with some friends may have taken a wrong turn at some point. And okay, I may have made a deal to possibly make sure that a certain lady couldn't go around breaking anyone else's heart ever again. This kind of gives insight as to why he did everything, because by the end of Who Killed Markiplier, you can kind of tell that Mark did something pretty wrong, and now you realize like he made a deal with the house, the darkness, the whatever, to kind of let the darkness take Celine's body. He would take Damien's. Damien would kind of be kind of fodder. He's kind of an unfortunate victim, much like our character. And now he's the villain of this whole story, you know? Like, it's very weird. The story is very interesting because, like, Mark doesn't necessarily have a reason to be mad at Damien. He doesn't have a reason to, like, think that Damien is the villain necessarily. Like, for him playing the role of villain, it makes sense. Anyways, if I keep this short. But yeah, like, I don't really see a reason why Mark would be mad at Damien. Him being mad at Wilford because Celine wanted to be with Wilford, that makes sense, but then him wanting to be with, or him being mad at Damien doesn't make much sense. You murderer. Who? Mark didn't actually kill anybody. He's definitely not clean. Like, everything happened because of Markiplier, because of that party, because of him inviting everyone. But, like, he's not really a murderer. Maybe that was just to make a connection to Damien. Or to the detective. So he can make a reference to that. I don't know. But yeah. They continue to talk. There's a lot of lore. I forget a lot of it, so I'm probably live your life in peace. Oh, my friend. There's no end for the likes of us. This is an interesting shot. When I saw this again, I started thinking like, I don't know. This seems almost like Damien kind of being pulled into Markiplier's story. Him kind of going along with the story of, you are the villain, you know? Like, that's what I see here. Here I see like Damien kind of being possessed into the villain role, right? Which is kind of interesting. Like, you will be my villain. You are going to be the antagonist to my protagonist, which is interesting. But then Celine kind of pops in and chucks a hold on, where is it? Hang on. How can I there? We're very close. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. Comes in, chucks an axe at him. And so Damien's like kind of free. I almost feel like maybe Damien comes back into the clutches of Dark for everything else. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like his role in other stuff, right? Because in Markiplier TV, I guess he's not really part of any story. He inserts himself into the stories, right? Like in Heist, he kind of hides in this little like back corner of Heist. And it could almost be implied that like, you know, that what, it's not the last, but like the second to last split up or don't split up before you get to the Damien or the Darkiplier route. Like before that, there were two instances where Mark was like, I guess we gotta split up, but then you don't. I guess we gotta split up, but then you don't. Like, what if it was supposed to be a third where it's like, it could have just been another gag of like, no, we're not splitting up until the last one. But like that would make sense to be a good spot for Damien to kind of insert himself, right? I don't know, just kind of getting very like conspiratorial there, but it's interesting. Uh, there really isn't, yeah, like Damien or Darkiplier really does just like insert himself into the videos. Like the only video that Darkiplier has ever truly controlled and ever like probably fully intended to make was like Markiplier TV, right? I don't know. Markiplier TV is a very interesting one to think about. I'm gonna push this back. Hold on. Is that good? Is that good? Hold on. I'll talk about this for a sec. But like, Markiplier TV seems like the only one where like the egos who weren't actor Mark kind of just took over. Like, I think the egos, it's been debated if the egos are also actor Mark, which technically they are because Markiplier's playing them all. But I think the egos are more likely their own character. Maybe that's just the Yancey stand in me. But I think more than likely they are just the I think they are just the egos. You know, they're different characters in the story, and they insert themselves, or they are part of the story whenever it seems fit. You know, like that explains King of the Squirrels, Google Plier, any other ego that isn't just called Markiplier. You know. Because Markiplier plays his own role. Markiplier plays as the actor is Markiplier. You know, anytime he is just called that, anytime he's just called Mark or whatever, which is interesting to think about. Just like the fact that the egos are their own people, and actor Mark just plays a lot of roles as Markiplier. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense. But it's just saying that like the egos are definitely their own people, their own like characters, apart from actor Mark. So then at this point, Celine's kind of losing control. She's losing control, and she's about to give kind of control over to Damien, so that he can take over as Darkiplier. And you got this. This reminds me a little bit of the glass break from the end of Who Killed Markiplier, which could be the case. Like it's a lot of water symbolism, and this is all metaphorical. But like there are a couple moments where like in between the cracks there's like static. That could just be an effect, but it also definitely reminds me of the of what? It reminds me of like the glass metaphor I was talking about, where you are the viewer looking through the glass, and this is them breaking through into a spot where Darkiplier can kind of do what Darkiplier does, you know. And another thing to point out is that we don't know specifically what happens to these characters. Specifically Celine and the detective. We don't know what happens to them after they play their roles in these shorts, right? Like that's kind of interesting, especially going into part 2 of In Space with Markiplier. Comes out tomorrow. It's just important to know that like Darkiplier and Warfstache keep popping up everywhere, but Celine and the detective are kind of not around. We don't know if they become more sentient. We don't know. I guess like Pam and Mick keep playing characters like they do the detective and Celine. You know, Celine is Celsi. She's a lot of different characters in Date, like the makeup artist. Mick, who plays the detective, is also Gunther in Space with Markiplier, and the warden in Heist. And so it's interesting to see, like, just consider where these characters are, you know, like in the universe of In Space with Markiplier. How much sentience do they have of their own, who they are from Who Killed Markiplier, and like how are they being controlled, especially like in Space with Markiplier. Like why is Celsi, maybe that's why Darkiplier isn't there, because Celsi or Celine's character is already playing a character in Space with Markiplier. Just stuff to think about, because a lot of, I'll get to this in a sec, but a lot of the story, I mean, I'll just explain it like this. A lot of Markiplier's stories are just stories, but it's more importantly like a kind of meta story of like characters playing roles, you know, like the people in Who Killed Markiplier and beyond just playing roles in the stories. And then sometimes, like in this whole nonsense of Who Killed Markiplier, Warfstache, Damien, you get a good peep behind the scenes, behind the curtains of what's actually happening, which is really interesting. And is why I kind of like, when I approach Markiplier stuff, I'm always like, it's mostly just for fun. Like if we start seeing stuff, if we start end up like poking behind the scenes or peeking behind the scenes, that's when the meta story of that associates with Who Killed Markiplier comes into play. But for the most part, it's just a story. Very rarely does it actually come to play as anything more than that. Like the hippo from Ultimate Custom Night. Hold on, there's a shot here. I don't know, I'm just gonna leave it on. We're gonna stop talking about Darkiplier and move on to the last little bit. I just want to leave it on like this. Where is it? It took me forever. I was like, I got to the end of this and I was just trying to find. Oh, whoops. Oh no. I played it. Sound won't come through, but will that? No, surely not. Come on. I just want to find it. Oh, guys, my internet okay? Okay. There is a single shot of him with like the red and blue effect here. Just give me one moment. Like around here. There he is in like black and white. Like playing it to try and get to the part where he's... There it is. There it is. There it is. Black and white. There he is. There he is leaving this part. There we go. We got our two characters. These would have been fun to use as the thumbnail, but whatever. It's fine, it's fine. But yeah, we got Damien, and we got Wilford. It's really dark, you can barely see it, whatever. I also wanted to play this little bit. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted, but this is like his live stream, so why would it be? It's just like some little bits he did of like alternatives or whatever to kind of wrap up this whole thing and like lead it into Markiplier TV. So here we go. Fingers crossed we don't get copyrighted for some reason. Oh, whoops. Hold on. There we go.
I wanted to have a little like ending moment. I changed my mind to have the ending that's at the end.
I'll keep it at double speed, so maybe we'll be good.
And the jump scare ending, because I originally want an ending where Warfstache comes in and it's just like it's like total cut to black, and then Warfstache comes in like, oh, there you are, Damien, I've been looking all over for you, and then like Damien's like, oh, I will, or whatever he fucking does, and then Wilford's like something along like you haven't seen Celine around anywhere, have you? If I can avoid her, I'd rather do it. And then Damien would be like, she's sleeping, and then Wilford would be like, oh good, great, all right, well anyway, I'm glad I found you. I got a great new idea, and we're gonna make a TV show, and like there was gonna be this long pause before Dark went, okay, just like cut to Markiplier TV. Somebody wants to. That was what it was gonna be. So.
Yeah. So, like, it makes sense. It fits, you know? Like, after all this, where else would you go? But, like, Markiplier TV, and then Date, and then Heist in Space, whatever. Like, that just makes sense. Or no, I guess technically it's Heist and then Date. Although you don't know that at the end of the canon route for Heist, he's not talking about a different date, you know? Does it have to be the date that we know about? Not to mention, I don't know. It's all stories, really. All of those, like, if you try and make a timeline for it, I don't think you can. I think they just float around as their own thing. They like intermingle with each other. It's exactly like, again, the metaphor to like Professor Paradox from Ben 10. Just hopping around different timelines. Sometimes, like, the first time you meet him is like way in the future, and then the first time they meet you, or no, the first time you meet them is not the same time the first time they meet you. Like, the first time they meet you could be like hundreds of years in the future, or way back in the past, or something like that. I don't know. It just some weird wibbly wobbly timey wimey nonsense, you know. And then I like the rest of this. I would definitely recommend checking this out if you want like the way I interpret all the stories, because this is the clearest it's been. But he just talks about like the narrative is really important, and like even the meta narrative of who killed Markiplier is really important. But at the end of the day, it's a story, you know. There's a lot happening in the background, but the videos are just there to tell their own story and just be enjoyed, you know. Like that's how I like to take it. If there is stuff that like implies connections to previous stuff, like the end of like the Darkiplier route and Heist, that's really cool. But other than that, you know, it's a story. And it's so cool. There's a bit, hold on. There's a bit where he does like, here it is. I think that's probably where it is.
People were just like pressing, like totally open to the public. So people were just,
hold on. Where is
I
it?
didn't hit any of my, about how Jim for the
here.
Cool. Oh yeah, get ready for a Jim. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
There we go.
There's a lot of cool things that are coming by, and yeah. It's gonna be cool. Oh yeah, get ready for a Jim backstory. That'll be the next thing. A really sad, somber tale about how Jim was thrown into a cloning machine and just like used as dispendable soldiers. Some super soldiers. It's so sad. Jim will have to kill Jim, and then Jim will have to kill Jim as revenge for killing Jim. It's gonna be so sad. You're gonna hate it. Oh, you're gonna hate it. It's gonna be so sad. It's a bug. Yeah. So get ready for the tearful, tragic backstory of Jim. Just imagine. Jim. Wait, hang on. I want you to really feel this. Like, I really want you to feel this. Yeah. Wait. Jim. I can't feel the cold anymore. Jim. What are you talking about? It's not cold at all. What, Jim? But it feels so cold. My heart. I don't know how much more I can go on. Tell me I'm gonna be okay. How do I look? Are my legs working? Jim, you don't have legs anymore. They got blown off by the landmine. Oh, Jim. Well, if I'm not gonna make it, you gotta take this back to our mother, Jim. Jim, no, don't leave me, Jim. Jim, just remember what our father Jim told us. What? You don't mean son Jim and other son Jim. I love you, and I'll always remember you, Jim. Jim, it's too loud, Jim. I can't hear you. Jim, you always gotta remember what your mother Jim told you. What? Are you dying too, Dad? Yeah, I'm on my deathbed. I told you this on my deathbed. I mean, I'm telling you this on my deathbed. I do this. Anyway, your mother Jim who died tragically. She was actually 3 different Jims, embodying one Jim. Imagine if the worst side of 3 separate Jim coins were shoved into some kind of Jim triangle. That's what your mother Jim was. And it tore her apart. She's evil. She's the embodiment of all the opposite of Jims. Dad Jim, I can't really believe that you'd be telling us about our mother that we loved on your deathbed. Well, the truth's gotta come out sometime, bitch. You just gotta live with it. Listen, Dad Jim don't play no shit. You gotta listen. Anyway, listen, shut up. It's not like that at all. I loved Triple Jim, Mother Jim, just as much as I could anyway. Even though she was mean and horrible and horribly murderous, I kept making fan art of her about her being a sweetheart. And she wasn't like that in real life, but she was like that in my heart. And so I just believed. And if I believed hard enough, and if I made enough fan fiction and fan art, I thought that maybe, just maybe, I would convince the original creator of Jim to turn that Triple Jim into some kind of delightful teddy bear of a Jim. Dad, son. This flashback is over now. Oh yeah, I'm dying. No legs. And that's what my dad told me. Jim. No. It's all true. But just remember, was that Jim the real Jim? All right, and see.
We get no copyright. Hell yeah. Highlight of my career. All right. Anyways, yes. All right, so that's all that. I'm gonna end this. Hold on. Yeah, I wanted it here. I wanted to show you these. I thought these would be cool to look at. These are just a bunch of like screenshots from that like you can get throughout Heist. Where did I get these? No, these were from the trailer. That's right. So these were from the original Heist trailer. I thought we'd just look through them and like talk about them for a sec, and then end the live stream, and then I can go and scoop cat litter. Not a joke. But also, it's a joke, but it's real. Anyways, we good? There's a little bit. You can see a little bit of the... That's fine. Alright. So, this is in the trailer. It's a shot of Tyler's character that you see a couple of times throughout Heist. With the weird glasses and whatnot. I don't know, this is interesting. This is very clearly like from the airlock. The way our hands are positioned makes it seem like it's unintentional. This is the part of the stream where I'm just gonna look at what we know about the next part, and shots that we know are probably in the next scene. I took all the ones that like we haven't seen yet, and I know we haven't seen them because I've seen all 55 videos of part 1. Have you? You should go and look for them all. They're all really good. Every route is a beautiful, floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. Go watch In Space Part 1, get ready for Part 2. Watch it again if you've already seen it to understand it more. And just have a good time. But this seems like unintentional. I don't know how we'd unintentionally be in the airlock. That's it. I think that's exactly where we are. It looks like we interact with other members of the crew, which is really cool. As implied by other scenes. And yes, Tyler's gonna be in the next one a little bit more. We got a lot of like mixed character and Pam and Bob. That's actually kind of interesting. That's actually very interesting. That like Pam and mixed character Gunther and Celsi were like very prevalent in the first part. And they are Celine and the detective in Who Killed Markiplier. Interesting. Anyways, let's go to the next shot. Here's this. Oh no, that's right. This is just a flipped version of this is a flipped frame from In Space, which I didn't know about. Hold on, can I flip it? Hold on. Flip. Yeah, there it is. You'll recognize it there. That's from the, before you get the choice of this is a dream or I believe you or something like that. Caught me off guard. I genuinely thought this was like an entirely different shot, but this is definitely in part 1. So we've seen that already. It's probably still flipped. Actually, hold on. Let me fix that really quick before we move on. There we go. And then go to this. These are all from the trailer again. I'm positive we have not seen this shot yet. We've seen something like similar, and I've seen videos of people comparing the trailer to what we've seen in Space, and they've also been promoting my In Space reaction. So, thank you. But they tried to use the alone endings for In Space, the fake alone endings for In Space, to fill in this void, and the cinematography is very similar, but I honestly think this is a different shot. This is somewhere else in part 2. This is in part 2 somewhere. We have not seen it. All the crew are leaving off of the front deck in front of the window or whatever. The blast shield is going up. Markiplier is just here with his mug looking out into space. We have not seen this yet. So this means that there's going to be this could be at the end of one of the scenes or something, but this is kind of everything acting normally, you know? We're not in a panic. We're not how do we close the wormhole? This is kind of a normal scene that we have not seen yet. So it's somewhere either at the beginning or the end, is my prediction. Let's go to the next shot. Gunther. We have not seen a shot of Gunther just being this is a scene from the trailer where Gunther's being shot back and he's flailing his arms while moving into the door, getting killed by the turrets. And Mark still has his hat. And 2 other things that are very important. Mark still has his hat, which I don't think he is seen wearing anywhere else in the show. There's also another very popular shot that people have not seen in the show where Mark is wearing his hat, but Mark's wearing his hat. And you also over here, hold on, let me, oh god. There we go. Over here, where my head is moving, you can see the guy with the arm cast, which I think is important. Knowing that he's in that shot right there, it means that this is either one of those scenes where everyone's running around frantically and trying to deal with stuff. This could be at the beginning of part 2. Things are starting to go wrong again and we're just trying to get to the wormhole. We see Gunther getting shot by the asteroid defense. We see Celsi freezing or something, and then Bert is just being Bert. I would expect that ouch. He just says ouch or something, he's burning, and he's just nonchalantly dealing with it. That's my prediction for this. But yeah, is a shot we have not seen in part 1 yet. So, and then the last one, the popular one, is Mark getting slapped by Celsi, which is interesting. And is again, we have not seen in part 1, so it's somewhere in part 2. I don't know what this tells us. Again, he's wearing the hat. I can't. There we go. Over here, the hat, right there. There's the hat. There's the hat again. Which Mark barely ever wears the hat in part 1. So how would these be you know. So it's interesting. I'm curious why he's. It could be something very simple. Oh. Okay, well, I guess it fits the whole screen. I didn't know about that. Alright, but that's all the stuff that was in the trailer. Those are all the shots that we have not seen that are in the trailer. And then there's the shots from the credits that we have not seen, such as this, which looks to be a kind of campfire scene, some kind of campfire storytelling route. Actually, a lot of homages to like storytelling, you know, like a lot of stuff implying like storytelling and telling stories, like a campfire. There's the like shot of the old guy who is either a different version of Warfstache or Waterman, Tim the Waterman. Someone can correct me on that. But Dan the Waterman, that's what it is. Holding like the romance or the horror books. A lot of like references to just storytelling, which is interesting. But this looks like this is similar to another scene with the like the lighting and the atmosphere, where I think it's from like a campfire storytelling scene or something. And it's some kind of like jump scare. So if you think you're about to see this, be ready, I guess, for a jump scare. What is this? Okay. Here, you might not think much of this, considering it's just, you know, the lady. You're very clearly in the hallway going into the warp core, but noticeably the lady is in much like better condition. Like she is not all torn up. She is not you know, like every other time you have seen the lady in the warp core hallway, she has been a mess. She has been just destroyed. She has been through a lot before she meets you, right? Which implies the idea of there being timelines that we have not seen yet, which could take place in part 2, right? And so you've got all this glitching out stuff. You've got... Oh, no, that's not part of what I'm talking about. Sorry. I just started talking about what I could see. But it's the lady. I think she's pointing a gun at you. There are like multiple images of basically the same scene, where you can kind of make out that she's like pointing a gun at you. You know? Yeah, like you're down the barrel of her gun. And she's smiling. Look at that. Hold on. Hold on a sec. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on a sec. I thought that would be funnier. Just like her little mouth. Just her little mouth there in the middle. Anyways. We good? Ooh, I can like... Huh. Okay. Anyways. That was the third one? Yes. This is like the last one. I don't know, I just took multiple of these to like try and piece them all together. But again, you're just being like, you're down the barrel of her gun. And she is like not torn up in the warp core hallway. And then this, I don't know what you would call it. It looks like, oh, save. It's like Matrix Mark, or like Gangster Mark, or something. You know, of like the little, the like necklace and the glasses and the big coat. You know, like there's a lot of shots that we have not seen yet from part 1, or that we've seen that are not in part 1, that imply a kind of Matrix scene, and this could be part of it, which is interesting. There are 2 others of this. This one, he's just like rear and ready to stab you or something. I don't know what the location for this is. We're definitely getting other locations that are not just the spaceship and the Wug's ship slash the ship that you arrive in. Look in the ship, by the way. Look at the ship that you arrive in part 1, and then look at Wug's ship. It's the exact same ship. They just move stuff around. Little like secret there. They use the same ship. One is just blue, the other's red. But the like build of the structure of it is the exact same. They just move stuff around. It's very cool. Anywho, this, and then there's like one more, which is basically the same. It's just him like rearing up ready to stab you or something. These are all from the credits, if you couldn't tell, by the way. Just a reminder where I'm getting these. This, again, kind of leans towards the idea of Matrix, although this has an entirely different feel to it, you know? I think this is where he says, "Let go!" or something, like in the end credits. And it looks like someone's getting, like, body tackled here. I don't know what to make of this. This could be the... Ooh. This could be the USA, the Universal Stability Agency. It's got a kind of similar vibe. It's a little, like, darker and more mysterious, but this looks a lot like what could be the USA, Universal Stability Agency. Like a room in the Universal Stability Agency office that we haven't seen. That would make sense, which is interesting. Like, there's a choice where we go and attack the USA. That'd be interesting. Here's the shot with Tyler again, but from like a different shot, different angle, where you're just looking him dead on. Again, your like hands are against the door as if you like didn't intend to find yourself in the airlock, which is interesting. But again, it's just another one of Tyler, so that we know that we'll see more of the other crewmates. Here's again the USA thing, or the Matrix maybe. Guy's like pulling a gun. I think he's pulling a gun. That looks like a pulling the gun move. You got some agents in the background, not really caring much, but this guy's going nuts. Like, there's a little, in the end credits, there's a little laugh here. This guy's just going absolutely insane, right? Going mental. He is about to do some crazy shiz. And then here's the end thing. Everyone, you recognize this, but I don't know. I like cropped it to just, or I just grabbed a still of it to see if there was anything here. There really isn't anything different other than like the red and everyone's eyes being covered out. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. And finally, the last stuff to look at is screenshots from, these are from Wake Up. These are from the Whitaker, the Put Out the Fire, Whitaker, Wake Up, the second video for Wake Up. The one where you send her into the cryo. These are in that video, where everything kind of glitches out and you see a bunch of stuff that you haven't seen yet. There are a couple of them that we've already seen in part 1, but there are a couple we haven't. I'm not 100% sure if we've seen this one. But it looks different, you know? Like, I don't think we've seen Markiplier this aggressive in Space Part 1. So I think it might be from part 2. And then we've also got, hold on. We've got or this is an interesting one because I'm like, I think it's Warfstache. It's been brought to my attention by someone recently that it could just be Tim or Dan the Waterman from his other thing. to me, like, it just looked um like a weird altered version of Warfstache where he's not crazy. Which I thought could be an interesting thing, but I think it probably is. Ooh, he even has like something on his jack or his shirt. It's like, does it say Dan? I guess I do this again. Does that say Dan or Dad? That says Dad, doesn't it? Hang on. Let's zoom it in a little more. Let's say Dan or Dad. It looks like D A D is what I'm seeing. I'm not entirely sure though. Maybe it says Dan. I don't know. Oh, boop 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 boop. There we go. So yeah, we've got this, and we've got the romance and the horror, which is a reference to date. So we're gonna have a choice of like, come on, Sonny, which one do you want to read, the romance or the horror? And people are gonna choose the horror because they think it's the Darkiplier route or whatever. But the romance is the real Darkiplier. I don't know, but it's interesting. The room you're in is also very strange. Like, this room is very particular. I would definitely take note of this. The kind of decor, because it's similar to some other shots I'm about to show you, which is interesting. Here is the chef. Not the chef from Who Killed Markiplier, by the way. I've seen, like, in the game theory, he says, like, this is the chef from Who Killed Markiplier. It's the chef. And it's like, technically, but also not technically. Like, he's wearing the outfit from Date with Markiplier, not from Who Killed Markiplier. Did I say Who Killed Markiplier? Game Theory was saying he was from Who Killed Markiplier. This is the same outfit he was wearing in Date. Which is interesting. Because I don't know. I don't know what he's doing here. The background doesn't look familiar. I can't really make it out. But more than likely this is him from Date. Or, yeah, Date. I keep getting all of these confused. For the longest time I've been calling Space Heist on accident. But this is the chef from Date. Which is interesting. So he's gonna make a return, which is so good. If they didn't put Robert Rex in this show, would have been a tragedy. Anyways, here, I don't know. People here, I've heard a lot of things from this one. Someone recently said that the bald guy on the left is Mick, or the detective. I can see it. I could also see the guy on the right being the detective. Kinda. Although the left makes more sense. Am I just saying that because they're both bald? Damn it. I thought I was better than that. Whatever. You got like a policeman in the background. You've got someone else on the back left. I don't know. It's an interesting background. Because I wanted to say it was like some kind of abandoned auction or warehouse or something. Or like kind of an antique house for holding antiques and stuff, because there's a lot of cloth in this room. It could be like a bedroom or something, maybe. It's interesting. I don't know what quite to make of it. That might be the detective. That might be Abe on the left. I'm not entirely sure though. Kind of hard to see. Almost the guy in the middle left, like back left, kind of looks like Mark, like young Mark, like clean shaven, spiky haired Mark. Which is interesting. Here's another shot of that where I think like stuff's going wrong. Okay, this definitely looks much more like a bedroom, which is interesting. And I would almost compare this to the like romance horror shot. Just because of like the home the homey environment of it. Homey. Whoops, that was bad. That was bad. I did not do well on that. This also reminds me of the home environment that we see. It's a little shot of the prisoners doing a little stage performance, which is really interesting to see them like doing this. Hold on. Oh god, I need to do something about that. Hold on. Okay, we're good. Oh, whoops. Oh no. My one view from myself. Go open back up YouTube. Okay. But yeah, very clearly this is like a reference, and probably like a reference in part 2 to Heist. A reference to Heist that might be in part 2. The like TV frame around the sides again makes me think that like all of these like home stuff is gonna be in the same place, and this is just like what Dan the Waterman, or whatever the blue shirted guy's name is, whoever the blue shirted guy is, just watching this, which is interesting. Will we see Yancey? Maybe. More than likely. I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't show Yancey again. Here's some weird occult stuff. This is in the bridge, like the control room for the Invincible, based on the lockers and the fire hydrant in the background. Over here, over to my left, your right, you see the lockers and the fire hydrant. You can see some of the lockers and the fire extinguisher. Not fire hydrant, fire extinguisher over here. But it's interesting. And apparently these anarchists have taken over the ship, which is interesting. So that is going to be a thing. I think they might be who we shoot in like the war scene. Wait, what happened to that? Hold on. Did I entirely skip the... I did. Oh, I forgot to show this one. Yeah, this was from the trailer as well. The shot of them shooting people, and you see the person in the hood. They're over the console. I think this is... No, this looks like the control room as well. But the star is not on the like top of that locker over there. So this is like pre-takeover from the anarchists or whatever. Space anarchists. So that's interesting to see. Anyways, back to this. What have we not seen? This, which is really interesting to me. To me, this is a very interesting shot. Because to me, that looks like young Markiplier. It's the same like home decor, and maybe that's why we see like Dad or Dan or old alternate Wilford or whatever. That looks like Markiplier pre, like when he starts YouTube, you know, which is really interesting to think about. Like we get to see Markiplier before, like contemplating doing YouTube or something. Like we go back to reset everything. Maybe this is what universal reset means. It means going back to the very beginning or something. Maybe this is the first shot of In Space Part 2. Maybe. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Going back through everything else, kind of like Avengers Endgame. An interesting thought. I don't know if he would go that far, but like that looks like young Mark to me. I don't know. I also don't think it would be very narratively good to just go back to the beginning of everything and go outside of all the space stuff, but it's an approach he could take. That's like my take on this, right? There are a lot of shots in this one. I'm gonna try and go a little quicker. Bomb defusal Markiplier like defusing a bomb. We don't know if this is an ego or something, but Mark defusing a bomb. Background kind of looks like the ship, like the Invincible, but I couldn't tell. Right. This is a bunch of stuff. Like, I took a bunch of shots of. Oh, I thought I did. I took a bunch of shots, but like they're incomprehensible. I can't tell what they are. It's just like light. It is just beaming light. There's no. I don't know what it is, but I was like, I can't tell if we have or have not seen this. We might have. This might be like opening the reactor or something. But here we've got. I need to rest my voice for tomorrow. We're gonna finish this up though. Here we've got Aaron. I know that is Aaron because he sent a post on Twitter of him like dressed like this in this room, in relationship to In Space, which is interesting. So it's Aaron playing, I think, the narrator, because in the credits for In Space Part 1, Aaron from the Game Grumps, that Aaron, that's who I'm talking about. That is Aaron from the Game Grumps, is credited as the narrator. And so I think maybe that's what this is. We're holding a pen, so we're like threatening his story or something. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think the entire story is him. I think like that one, in some sections, it's his story, or he's just the narrator or something like that, just reading off the script. Here we've got this shot of the detective and Mick, the detective and the detective, Detective Markiplier and Mick, or Abe, or the detective, the true detective, if you will. I don't know what the background is. The background's interesting. I don't think we've seen this room. It doesn't look like the room from Wilford, Mother-Loving Warfstache, but it also doesn't look like the ship. It's kind of similar to the ship, but I don't think it is. I think this is somewhere completely different. But it's interesting to see the detective again, so we'll get an answer to what he's been doing this whole time, I guess, which very much heavily implies that we'll see what Selena's been doing. Again, like in the game theory, like game theorist thinks that Whitaker is Selene. I think that Whitaker is just Darkiplier. I don't think it's specifically Selene, like trying to reach out to Darkiplier. I think that's a stretch. But it's whatever it is. It's a game theory. Anyways, here we've got the campfire scene, which I was referring to earlier with the like guy with the big light on him, and the atmosphere is the same, and the jump scare. So campfire scene, expect a jump scare, I guess. Yeah. There's even some members of like the crew here, like the guy in the arm cast is here. I don't know who the guy in the middle is. Doesn't quite look like Markiplier, but it's hard to tell. Let me move my face. Here's who's on the other side. Looks like the Penguin from Batman. On the left, looks like Penguin from the Batman up there, right next to the guy in the arm cast. But then you've got the two other characters on the left. One of them kind of looks like they both look like they're from Heist, and some parts of In Space, like parts of the crew and parts of the like prison gang, which is interesting. So, but yeah, I think this is just going to be an entire route, you know, or like a mini route, kind of like the Illinois thing, maybe. Not sure. Not sure about that, but on to the next one is guns. Guns. Don't know what they're for. Don't know why they're here, but there they are. Imagine I get like age restricted. Yeah. These are interesting. These are very interesting. I think these are the last two, at least, are are of this kind of environment. Is this like checkered board? I've seen people say this is like FNAF. I don't think it's FNAF. I think this is just like a diner or something, or like an ice cream parlor. That's what this is to me. You got like the tables, you got the checkered board floor, you got this eerie ambience. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Like the background is super dark. You can't see anything back there. It's just eerie, you know? And what's more interesting is this next shot, where we see Old Man Mark. That is 100% Old Man Mark. I can't think of who else that would be. It's in the same room. The same exact room, same checkered board floor, same tables, same aesthetic. And I've seen, I don't know what, I saw some theory of someone calling that someone else. I think that's Old Man Mark. I can't think who else that would be. Just sitting there, you're about to probably go sit with them. Really interesting. This could be like this as well. There's so many things that could be the first shot of In Space Part 2. Honestly, I think this is a strong contender. Like the universe resets, we find ourselves like in this weird black spaced, you know, ice cream parlor, diner, whatever. Turn around, we see Old Man Mark. He's like, you're here. And then we just like hop back into it or something. I don't know. But it's really interesting. Really interesting. And then last shot. We got Matt Pat here with his like thumb up. We're clearly in the like control room of the Invincible. His name in actual space, it's like something else, but his tag here says Mac. Like there on his over here on his like jacket, it says Mac. It says something else in Space Part 1. But here he is Mac. I feel like he's gonna play a very like, I feel like his character is gonna be very similar to what like the Game Theorist is, or like if you've ever heard the like Random Encounters Bendy and the Ink Machine thing, he voiced that, and I feel like he'll probably give a very similar like, "Howdy ho, this Captain, how you doing? We're gonna solve all the problems," and then he's gonna cause all of the problems, you know? That's what I see happening here. He also looks like, you know, a milkman. That could be something, I don't know, but Mac. I mean, what? I don't know. Who's the Game Theorist? I don't know who this is. No, I know who Mac is. I don't know who that other guy is. He looks similar, kind of similar. Don't know who that guy was, but I know Mac. He's Mac, you know? I think that joke landed well on my Part 1 stream. I think that joke landed very well. So, anyways. Yeah. That's all that. Very excited for Part 2. That's gonna be quite the venture. God, it's more, I'm more fatigued by it all than I am excited. It's gonna be really cool when we see it tomorrow. But man, it's just been a long ride getting here, you know? Like 2 months of just hype and excitement and waiting, and it's gonna be over, and then we'll be able to just dig into all of it. I don't know if I'm gonna be going through everything in Part 2. I've heavily considered the idea of just routing the entire thing after I do like 2 or 3 routes of In Space. But we'll see. I'll at least do 2, maybe 3, depends on if we get like a third option in the beginning. I think that would be cool if we got like more than 2 options for the first video, but it's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, at least 2 routes. And then if I have time and I feel up to it, I will just route everything. And then what I'll do is I'll like go through and find all the videos. And then I'll be like, okay, this one seems interesting based on what we've done before. But it should be cool. Should be very interesting. And you can bet I will end up finding every video by the end of that day. If I do it on stream or not is the only question. But, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you came into the live at any point, even if you left, thank you for being here. If you're here for the VOD, thank you. I'm amazed that you got to the end, but I'm also very pleased and very gratified. Grateful that you managed to get to the end. And yeah, so tomorrow, In Space with Markiplier Part 2. Watch it. Watch me do it if you want to. Rewatch it as many times as you need before you're like, I understand as much as I want to. You know? Like, if it doesn't make sense, which could be the same as Part 1, where he, like, the most obvious route, or the one that everyone chooses is the most insane and, like, crazy. If that's the case, you know, go through it a couple more times until you find a route that, like, explains stuff. But, yeah. So, go watch that. Enjoy. Have a good rest of your day. I'm tired. And I'll enjoy In Space tomorrow, whether you're here with me to watch it or not. So, oh, just yeah, I can turn off I have access. I can turn them off. I'm all red. I'm all blue. See if that comes in handy tomorrow. I'll try to do that. Just add some like special effects. But yeah. So see ya. Bye. Have a good day. Goodbye.